All right, welcome to West Nile TV, and tonight we have decided to come this side of Heritage Courts where the weekend sports is taking place. This is where we belong, and remember, it is the Saturday, 17th of October, 2020. Most times we do this. Of course, initially we started it on Fridays, but we have shifted it. Now it is every Saturday. Of course, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. So today I have Otirul Vegas, who was missing the other weekend, but then he also made a move before this very weekend. And he's the official PRO for Arua Hill Sports Club. Call me Kimnaz. This is West Nile TV. Welcome. It's been the 17th of October 2020, a Saturday, a very beautiful day it is, and the atmosphere is very cool. That's why Otirul is a little bit in the castle where you can easily understand that. Welcome to the show, and it's a very beautiful day.
Thank you very much, and I greet the viewers.
Okay, the last time we were here, we discussed a lot. Of course, remember all the betting tips that we did give you. You probably made money because only one went wrong. But we believe if you went for a VIP, you must be a millionaire by now if you followed them critically. Otherwise, tonight we're discussing a lot. Yeah, this very morning we're discussing a lot. We're starting this time round. By the way, we are also going to chip with athletics, something that has not surfaced in the West Nile TV sports show for quite some time. But then today, we are having it as part of our show, but we're starting it with the local content, which means local sports is where sometimes our interest also is. And today we're talking about the playoffs. Remember, the Federation of Uganda Football Association finally has come out, and that first of all seems to be the opening up or the lifting of the lockdown on sports now. What is the feeling around you as far as the lifting of the lockdown on sports is concerned?
I can tell you, Kimnas, the feeling is very good. That for us, we are people who work within the game, and we yearn that the game should be opened up and people should be playing their games in specific different sports disciplines. Of course, in Europe, where the whole thing, the pandemic started, even in Asia, football is going on.
Yeah.
So why not us, where it's just a visitor? So it's really a good feeling to get the fact that the games are back.
Very true. And looks like the first set or the first time somebody is going to be watching football in the country probably is going to start with the playoffs. As we all know, FIFA Big League only promoted two sides to the top tier. That is the Uganda Premier League, UPDF and Maida Football Club. And that already tells you that there's still a playoff in the pipeline. And the playoffs are all being taken to actually take part or place in one place. And this time it's going to be the technical center down in Njeru. But our first thing is always first, knowing very well that we also have the regional league playoffs yet to come. Our own side from West Nile, you have Midigo Calvary and Nebi Hot Springs. They're also going to take part in the playoffs as well. But their game is going to be on on the 4th of November. But before we reach there, all the clubs that are going to take part in the playoffs are all going to start it with quarantining the players for up to 14 days, making sure that the players are tested twice. The first is going to be done this week. Then before the games are played, 72 hours before the games are played, then the teams will have to play a part alongside the federation to make sure the players are also tested before the games are played. What a hectic moment it is for the clubs in the country.
Yeah, it's very hectic that the financial bit is also massive in a way that clubs will have to go deep in their pockets to do some of the precautions and the testings, because the federation said they are going to share costs. At this point where the clubs have not been making money, there are no gate collections for the community clubs. It's going to be very difficult. This is where the bosses will go deep into their pockets. We all know these regional league clubs, the FIFA Big League clubs do not have sponsorship. So this is where the owners will go deep into their pockets. If those willing fans who always will love to give for the club will have to come in and say, we have to help here. But there's no choice for us to kickstart in a proper way that where the government will feel that, yes, they're observing the protocol and so on. This is the only way. We have to be following the rules, and yes, it hurts, but we're trying to get there. So for me, it's something very good. The pain is high, but we have to take it for the good of the game.
And this is happening at a time more especially when the federation has come up saying that no single teams will take part in trainings and any other active football play. But then 14 days later, they are supposed to be in quarantine, which means no training, Then later, we expect to see the playoffs. You have Midigo Calvary, one of the sides that got promoted, this time from West Nile, and alongside another West Nile side. Of course, they're going to be locking horns. Let's zero it down to Midigo Calvary before we look at Navy Hot Springs. Midigo Calvary did make an attempt to actually qualify for the second tier, that is the FUFA Big League last season, but they were beaten in the penalty shootouts by Saviors of Lira, which eventually got relegated later on. That's after playing in the big league. So Midigo Calvary is where our interest is. You have Ahmed Olima Borini, a coach, many always call him Borini. He is actually taking these boys so well, and right now as I talk, the boys are not actively training, but they believe they can do it.
You see, this is where you see good teams. It's not a gamble. When they try and go to a respectable stage at some point, and when they don't fade out and they keep coming over. I want to give example of Leeds United in the championship. They tried coming closer several times.
Yes.
It showed that okay, there was a bit of luck, because I'm someone who believes in luck in football.
Okay.
There was a bit of that being unlucky for Leeds United. They will come closer, they will get back, but they will still come to the same spot and go to playoffs. They will
16 good years.
Yes. So they kept on coming closer and closer. This is the same example of Midigo Calvary. It shows how organized the football club is, that they always come closer to something. And Borini, trust me, Borini is going to be one of the best tacticians and managers. I love to call him a manager in West Nile, because if you look at the way his team approaches games, the team shows respect towards him, because as a coach,
okay,
when players do respect you, when you call them on the touchline, they always come in numbers. They listen to what you're saying, meaning that you're a coach who is not gambling. So for me, he's the right coach for that place, and he understands the players, he understands the league, he understands what's needed out. So if he takes Midigo Calvary to FUFA Big League, I will not be surprised at all, Kimnas.
Let's look at a scenario of having 3 clubs from West Nile all playing in the FUFA Big League, because that chance is already very high. Yeah, we stand that chance. You have Midigo Calvary, you have Nebi Hot Springs, aside from Nebi, with whom Midigo Calvary is going to battle. So in case one of them actually makes it through to the big league, then we'll be having 3 clubs from West Nile that are going to play in the second tier. What a feeling it is. We're talking about one out of course, one club between Calvary and Nebi Hot Springs joining Paida Black Angels and Arua Hill Sports Club eventually, where you are.
This is very good for the region to develop. I always say, for us to have these boys to show their talent, to advertise them well, we need platforms. So you cannot, we have over 500 players in West Nile, talented players, and from other regions. These players cannot root to play for one club, because you only field 11 players and the rest of them on the bench. So we need clubs to offer these players options. If option is being offered to them, you realize that we'll have more players exposed. I always give example of Ginger. There was a time you had several clubs huddling paints. You had GMCs, you had Bull, you had Ginger, Chirinya, like 5 clubs in Ginger.
Yes.
From here, there are so many players from the national team that were dominating from Ginger side. So this was good that for the region, if you go to Ginger, you have players building they are calling the Uchos, Isaac Isindes, they have their houses in Ginger.
Yes.
So this brings infrastructural development in an area.
Okay.
So when we have these clubs and put these players performing, we get more Shabans. You realize that Shaban has constructed a house in Vara. So at the end of the day, you'll have all these players constructing houses and so on. They get rich, they make money, and even roads being constructed. So for me, I'm excited. If more of these clubs should come up, the camera should turn towards us. When the camera turns towards West Nile, not only football will be discovered, other things will be discovered. Agriculture will come in, several things will come in. So for the big camera to turn towards the derbies will be playing and so on, because cameras love derbies.
Wow.
Recently, I posted something about AC Simba.
First club Simba.
Yes, and Yanga. The derby is so massive.
In Tanzania.
Yes. The whole of East Africa turns towards that derby. So you can see the importance. And it brings in economic value. You will have people coming over to rent places. Here we're in Heritage. People will come and dominate Heritage. You know, some fans will go to other places. from here, these people will be getting money. The bodabodas will be getting money just
The
because-
Muchomo sellers.
Yes, the Muchomo sellers. You go to the Muchomo garage, you get Simba, younger fans, all piles they're blowing vuvuzela and eating my Muchomo. At the end of the day, it brings me money. So this is all the power of clubs located in the same region, and it brings the aspect of derby. But that should come with love at heart.
A very technical one before we move off the playoffs of the regional league. You have Midigo Calvary, you have Navy Hot Springs. And this is at a time, remember ordinarily, okay, initially, the playoffs have been played in such a way that, okay, they choose either a neutral venue or they decide to play both home and away. But this time round, due to the pandemic, the format has changed a little bit. The federation is saying, okay, let all these clubs come in one place, be quarantined for 14 days, then tested, then when the results out, then they can play the games in a gala form in one place. Now, look at this. Do you see this of a favor, or do you think it's going to be of an advantage for these clubs, or it is just something that has come out to mess them up? Their chances of qualification anyway.
You know, the situation the whole world has found itself in, you wouldn't say it's the worst thing to do. I think it's the right thing to do than moving up and down. You never know what's going to happen. You never know, the virus could be there. They could be spreading in another area. Keeping them in one place, quarantined, and doing it at the same place, for me, is the perfect one. Every club must adapt. It's not going to be done to one club. Had it been that it's only going to be done to Calvary or Hot Springs, then we could be, complaining and say, why is it being done this way? But they were communicated how it's going to be done. I'm sure Calvary have trained enough, and yesterday they played the friendly game against Arua Hill Sports Club. So that's a very good preparation for them. I don't know what Nebi Central are doing there, but now clubs that are wise, very instinctive, trying to sense things, the players should have trained. So it's going to help players with a kind of high fitness level compared to others who have just been waiting. They're not keeping their ears on the ground. So the ones that have been alert will get the advantage. But
Quite
the
interesting.
rules have advantage for all the clubs that are going for the playoffs.
The other time on our page, somebody was asking what PR actually means. It is the Public Relations Officer. And we thank you very much for always being with West Nile TV and getting to learn as well. Because at the end of the day, West Nile TV gets to learn a few things from you. And you as the viewer, you also definitely learn a few things when you listen or view the show straight away. Let's talk about Arua Hill Sports Club. Yesterday, Arua Hill Sports Club did confirm new acquisitions. One of them is Ade Bryan, who played for Uganda Christian University in the Pepsi Inter-University Leagues. He was actually their top scorer. Then you also confirmed the former Nduparaka Junior striker, that is Idi Abdul Wahid. If I start mentioning the list, it looks like that is the 7th acquisition, because you would mention names like Paddy Muhumuza, who have been acquired, the likes of Danny Birikwalira from Chetu. Of course, he played for Chetu Maize, was with Sports Club Vipers and all that. So that tells how ambitious the club is. Let's talk about all these signings. Agao Rashid is in the side. I was watching the training yesterday, Friday. Quite interesting things happening in the play. Let's look at how the team is.
I'm as well, the recruitment has been a good one. There are some people saying, why were you recruiting old players and so on? We felt having a mixture of young players plus the old ones will be a perfect fit. You cannot have a team where you only have young players, or you cannot have a team where you only have old players. It's not going to work for you. That's why we decided to add the likes of Idi Abdul Wahid, the likes of Ade Bryan, the likes of Agao Rashid. These are still young players. And the old ones also came in, the likes of Paddy Muhumuza and so on. Like we said before, for us, we are not looking at the aspect of someone saying that, why are you recruiting boys from that side, or why are you recruiting boys from here? We are simply recruiting talent.
Okay.
We are after talent. Provided the player is talented, even if we get 20 talented players from the eastern side, no problem. The central side, no problem. Even if we get 100 talented players from here, there's no problem about it. The bottom line is talent. It's not about religion. It's not about color. It's not about where you come from, Kimnas. It's about, are you able to play, represent Arua Hill Sports Club to the best way possible, according to the goals, ambitions, and the wantings of the club. That's what we're looking at. And when we had our press conference here, one of the things we considered was doing the business aspect of it, trying to transact players out. we'll be able to get players we think are very talented, whether we can be able to push them across the border to market our region, to market our players who are here, so that the world will say, we got this talented player from Arua Hill Sports Club. That's what we're trying to do. We are recruiting both to play well in the league and also to do well in the international transfer market. That's what we're trying to do.
Interestingly, somebody is trying to ask here where they can get the jerseys of Arua Hill Sports Club, but we'll maybe tackle that at a later time. But let's first talk about the team itself. Have it brought all those players? There's already, remember the entire West Nile TV team, the crew actually were at Barifa Stadium like a few days back. We tried to find out or go in to do some bit of findings and discovered that every time the game, the training is carried or undertaken by the coach, the head coach, that is Hussein Balangu, there is that tendency of seeing the technical director, Tony Anthony Afeti, then you have, the technical director, that is Dudu Bosco, then you have the CEO, all in the stands. Don't you think this is already affecting the flow of the game, more especially for the coach, the work of the coach, or the coaches?
Balangu is a man who operates with principles. He's a very good coach. When there's something which is not good, he always comes up and tells you, this is not good, I'm not comfortable with this. He always comes and tells. When you see people on the ground, I think he's fine with that. Maybe he thinks he can be able to ask certain things direct from them in his office, direct from maybe the CEO. The CEO's job is to oversee everything happening in a football club. And at times, when you see, specifically for Ugandan players, when they see the CEO around the stadium, the intensity of doing things always goes higher because he pays their money. He oversees everything in a football club. So when you're going to train lazily, when they see the CEO, they're like, okay, he's around, let's train. It brings the element of, that enthusiasm. The players become more enthusiastic. And it can also give the CEO a chance to see who is not doing his job at this specific time, who is late, who is doing what. It gives him that time. It's still a new team. He's trying to, sieve out character. Who is who. I think being on ground is very good for him, but not getting into the pitch or starting to tell players, do this, do that, do this. But coming, sitting on a chair, seeing what is happening in the stadium. I think it's very good for him to have direction.
Edwin van der Sar is the technical director of Ajax Amsterdam, and he has never, not even at any point, dressed like a footballer to enter the pitch. Dudu Bosco does that at Arua Hill.
Dudu Bosco, he has a role in that team, not only technical director.
And that's what the media does not know.
At some point, he is going to have more engagement with the junior players, trying to coach them directly in the pitch. And if you attend our training, we have several young players there who will be diverted to the junior team. So I think he is there to give them direction as well. Because the direction at times you give for the senior players varies from the direction you give for the young players. So I think he's there in a point to also point to the players that this is what you need to do. This is what you need to do.
As I was there in the pitch, as an analyst, I was also going deep trying to find out what the system that the club is coming up with. This is a team that has Agao Rashid as one of the strikers. You have Okuti Samson Caesar. You have Leko Alfred. You have Ade Bryan, probably, who will want to be a first teamer. Just like Idi Abdul Wahid, very young, but will want to be also striking the balance and be up front there. So many times in the training sessions, I've seen Agao Rashid, Samson Caesar, Okuti dropping deep to pick the ball. But then I keep asking myself, what exactly is the coach coming up with?
The coach, he's someone new. He's trying to assess the players' abilities in different positions. What can Agao be able to give when he's playing as a second striker? What can Agao give when he's wide? What can Agao give when he's up front? What can Agao give when he comes from the bench? So as a coach, you always consider that. I think that's what he's doing. And I'm glad that he's learning it very quick, that at the end of the day, he'll be in the best position to know how Agao is going to fit in his philosophy and style. So we have given him that chance, and I think he's doing the right thing to test these players in different positions. One funny thing about players is that at times we may think the player is best at doing A, but But when you try him in and say, it's supposed to be this way. That's why in coaching they say the game is the best teacher.
Okay.
If you don't play the game, it will not teach you something. So if you don't involve a girl in a certain bit of the pitch side in a game, meaning a girl, it will not teach us something about a girl. I think he's using that principle of coaching.
One of the things on Duparaka Football Club fans loved Charles Livingstone Babazi was his tactics and his ways, like how he interacts with the players during training sessions here and there. And there's a video that is actually going on air, online. It's a little bit viral about the coach, that is Hussein Balagu, where he actually was quoted saying Allahu Akbar when a striker actually missed a chance. That is one of the most interesting things actually circulating online right now. It's surely going viral. And that already tells how interesting he is. Picturing him with Charles Livingstone Babazi or with the rest of the coaches you have actually worked with, citing the likes of Asaf Mebas as an example. You have Swadik Sempiji at some point. And then you had, there was Simeon Masaba, who you also worked with. Picturing him, can you put him amidst them, like as one of the most interesting coaches around?
In the shortest period I've worked with Hossein Balango, I'm not saying this because I'm an insider in this football club or I'm trying to hype him in the face of the media. He is, when I'm trying to arrange the top 5 best coaches in Uganda, I think I have to fit him in. Because previously I would only think of Mike Mutebi, I would only think about Livingstone Babazi, I would only think about Abdallah Mubiru, and add in a few names like Sam Simba. That's what I will do. But this time around, Hussein Balango has proved me wrong. I never expected him to be at that level.
Okay.
The level, okay, I knew he was a good coach, but I didn't know he was all that good.
I don't want to compare him to Alan Kabonge because he's one of the, one of the examples I needed to cite in.
I've worked with Alan Kabonge. Alan Kabonge is more of someone who engages players in aspect of things that are off football.
Okay.
But if you talk about teaching football to players how to play the game, because I don't really, I always tell people I don't see a good coach when it comes to assembling, conning the pitch and telling them the warm-up. No, that's not where I see good coaches. I see a good coach in tactical play.
Okay.
How he teaches tactical play. How do you teach the back three? How do you teach the movement of the players?
And that is what Alan Kabonge does not provide.
He doesn't provide that.
Okay.
If you're playing 2 holding midfielders, how do you teach them to move? Whenever they have the ball, when they don't have the ball, how do you teach them? If you're playing 2 strikers, how do these 2 strikers play? You know, the mistake we make in Uganda is when you see a coach conning the pitch, making players run around, like what they think that is. When you teach something tactical, players understand the system they're playing. Because in Uganda we say 4-3-3, but how many coaches teach 4-3-3? We talk about 4-2-3-1. How many coaches teach 4-2-3-1? So Mbalangu is one of those coaches who will teach you how to play in a formation. Not really written on a paper, but he teaches you to play in the formation. So that's what I respect about him. And it's what Babazi does, it's what Mike Mutebi does, it's what Mbalangu is doing. And I'm excited. For the likes of Asaf, Asaf is more of a blackboard coach. You know, but there's also the theoretical part of football. Some people are very good in theory. So he theoretically he's up there. He speaks good English, he communicates well, and that's where you may say he gets an edge over other people. But coaching is something practical. Football is played practically. The theory part of it is there, but at times some players don't do much with theory. They know that it's something very practical.
Okay.
So practically, Balangu, I rate him in the levels of the Babazis, the Mike Mutebis, and so on.
Before we move off that discussion, remember right now, I again want to involve you in this one because if somebody right here again is also asking, not actually asking, but commending you for being an inspirational speaker, saying that the question Kim Nas has actually posed is very good about why the CEO and why the technical director have to be in the pitch. For him as well, he expects you to be there because you have ever worked with the players. They understand you better than probably the CEO and maybe some of those other figures. But the question to you, within this shortest period working as the sports club, I mean the PRO of the club, probably you haven't interacted with the fans that much. How much do you know about them? Because you are the focal person who actually bridges the gap between the fans and the club itself.
I've been following this football club. By then it was called the Doves All Stars. I've been following them. They had good fans, very good fans, and right now my coming in has also brought in some section of few fans to the club. The players who have come up with their own fans. They see you as his own fans. Bringing this together, the response they're trying to give on social media, this club is going to swell in the fan base, and this club is going to pick results. In the shortest period of time I've worked with the football club, the few fans I've met are very amazing.
Okay.
The new ones who have joined are very amazing. We have opened, twice we have opened a WhatsApp group, trying to tell people that if you're interested in joining the WhatsApp group for Arua Hill Sports Club fans, we share the link. Always the shortest period of time, the group gets full. People keep requesting that we need to get in the WhatsApp group.
Okay.
It shows how much people are trying to come towards this club and how much the ones who have been there, they're trying to love the whole thing. So I think it's the right direction, and the fans are epic.
Let's talk about okay, we'll be following. Remember, somebody did ask a question how they can actually be able to access some of the merchandise of the club. Maybe we'll respond to that later on social media. And you, the viewer out there, you can keep sharing this video, knowing very well that it gives us the mileage. This is West Nile TV. You call me Kimnas, and I have Otelul as my co-presenter. I call him my co-presenter tonight because he normally drives the show as well. So let's talk about Onduparaka Football Club, not as a PR of a Royal Sports Club, but this time you will talk as a sports analyst. Onduparaka Football Club yesterday did confirm their 21st signing of the transfer window. They brought in a goalkeeper, Michael Kagiri. Michael Kagiri from URA. A football club signing up to 21 players. Maybe somebody out there will think he's the PRO of a Royal Hill Sports Club. Why should this question go to him? No. This is as an analyst. Have yourself that 21 full transfer window for a club.
I want to start with a statement that let's support Onduparaka FC to the best way possible. In fact, let's support all the clubs in West Nile to the same magnitude. Yes, their brand selling may be very different, but Onduparaka is a natural identity. I've been telling someone recently, I'm not sugarcoating, I'm not being ironic or something like that. This is a natural identity of West Nile.
Okay.
Where clubs have not reached there. Arua Hill Sports Club have not reached the level of Onduparaka FC in all aspects. In all aspects. So they deserve the respect, and they deserve the support. Being a natural identity of this land, I would say let's give them the support. And what I'm going to say is not because I said we should support them. This is an honest opinion. There has been rampant player exodus in Onduparaka FC. Players have been moving in, out. I think the strategy of trying to sign 21 players is that let's have backup when others develop headache and they say they want to move out. Because most times these players, you get them, you groom them from down, you bring them from different places, you take them to the bigger platform, they start disrespecting you, they move out. This time around, maybe they're saying, if Kimnas is saying he's moving out, do we have immediate replacement within, not really struggling to sign and moving someone, but someone within the dressing room, is it there to go into the pitch and play? If things don't go well, do we have a section of who understand and will fight for the badge? Out of those players, there are going to be those ones who only have joined with a different interest. There are those ones who will fight for the badge, and they will love the club with all their heart. That section will be there. So you will get them through having good number of players within. You try and separate them from there. I think it's a good move to sign all those players. Besides, it's going to make the team more competitive, that no one will have to feel that his position is obvious, because we have 21 players, new ones. If you add the old ones on top of that, you're going close to 30-something players.
Yes.
So everyone must know that your position is not guaranteed.
Okay.
When you're given a chance, take it with both hands, knowing that we are over 35 in this football club. So it's going to, boost them.
In the past, we have lots of athletes in the country, Uganda, who have actually represented at the toppest level and have always made Uganda proud. One of them probably is John Akibwa. Then you will talk about the likes of Kiprotich, but then the latest talk is all about that is Joshua Cheptegei, who broke records over records, and now he becomes a back-to-back world record holder in 5,000 meters, kilometers, meters, and then you also have 10,000 where he also holds world record at 180 in Valencia just last month. So interestingly, this time round, he's expected to perform tonight in Poland, trying or making an attempt once again, this time in it's a half marathon.
Trying what he has never tried. I think when I heard that he was going to compete again in Poland, I felt worried. Why am I worried? I'm worried because the Kenyans right now are very unhappy for Kiprotich. The Ethiopians are not happy for him.
So,
in the fact that he's breaking all the records in this world, we have people in the US who are all timing this. And normally when you win big, you get so many people trying to fight to prove you wrong.
so
I think he needed some bit of time off to prepare for the enemies, knowing who is my enemy properly before engaging into this. I really wanted him to hold back at some point, Gymnasium, because now if he loses today in Poland, it's going to reduce the heroes welcome in Uganda,
so
the standing ovation. Some of those things will go down. It will not be
just like Otelul, you did say. A very good friend of mine also did actually put such a say. He said that why the International Athletics Federation, that is IAAF, is organizing back-to-back races for Joshua Cheptegei is simply because they have realized that he actually won the other one. So they want somebody to come up and beat that record immediately. So are you looking at that kind of scenario?
Definitely. I would, plus his coach, I would request that my athlete has to rest.
Okay.
And he has just won recently. Like I said, so many enemies are trying to gather up to make sure that they prove him wrong. Why would he now try something new? So for me, this is a risky one for Cheptegei. It will wrap the good things he has done, that the world has already given him that respect. The standing ovation will not be like if he had just returned to Uganda without competing and losing anything over there.
Quite interesting from Otelul Vegas, of course, trying to talk about how races have been organized for Joshua Cheptegei back to back, simply because the IAAF maybe will be thinking that somebody in Africa is about Pitso Masemane, the head coach of that is Mamelodi Sundowns in the ABSA or in the PSL, that is league in South Africa, finally has called it quits and moved or exchanged that is Mamelodi Sundowns for Al Ahly in Egypt. Quite an interesting one, because from big club to a big club, that is Pitso Motsimane. And looking at his move, what does it mean to Uganda Cranes captain Dennis Onyango?
Motsimane loves Onyango so much. I remember when he came to play KCCA Sundowns in the Cup Champions League, he came along with Onyango. But then in the sticks, it was Kennedy Mwini.
Yeah, Onyango was injured, I think.
Yes, Onyango was injured. Then the media asked him, why did you bring Onyango along knowing that he's injured? He said, I brought him to you to be interviewed. So you can say how much he loves Dennis Onyango. And he's another reason Onyango has been on top of his game. He has always praised him. He has always pushed the South Africans to appreciate that Onyango is the best goalkeeper in South Africa. His departure may not affect so much, because Onyango himself has proved to the people in Sundowns that he's worth the praise, he's worth the coach's appreciation, and he's worth the coach's time given in the pitch. So, and Onyango, I interacted with Onyango personally.
Okay.
I interacted with him.
I did see photos circulating on social media.
Yes, I had a chat with him. I spoke to him at length. He actually gave me clues about all the clubs in South Africa.
Okay.
Kaizer Chiefs and so on. Gave me clues about them. Onyango, they look at Onyango as someone who is going to retire at Sundowns.
Okay.
Onyango is being looked at like a coach in Sundowns. replacement. At some point, he will be the coach at Sundowns.
So the status of a legend probably is being earned.
Yes. Everyone knows. I'm sure Mosimane had put in recommendations for specific individuals before he left.
Okay.
Because they know he is their best coach in the history. He has recommended them to do certain things, to not do certain things. And I'm sure they will still consult him about certain things. And when things go wrong, let me tell you, Mosimane will still call from Egypt to South Africa to tell them, this is wrong, this is right, this is wrong, this is right. And these people will listen to him. They will listen to him. I'm sure he's going to Al Ahly is more of like, he got fed up. He had won everything. The net back camp, the cup, everything he has won in South African league.
Do we call it greener pastures or we call it new challenge?
That is new challenge.
Okay.
Definitely, that is new challenge. Because Sundowns will give what Al Ahly can give Mosimane, trust me. So he was just looking for new challenge. But my problem with that new challenge is, Al Ahly, it's a tradition in Zamalek, Al Ahly, those clubs in Egypt, that changing coach is tradition. Why would you change the coach who has just won the league?
Okay.
Al Ahly coach just won the league, and with a huge point separation, but this coach got sacked.
Yes.
So their tradition of pushing out coaches is intact. Don't be surprised Mosimane will not last there for 3 seasons.
Wow.
He will be away. Definitely will be away. So for me, the choice he made in going to, yes, it's a new challenge, but I wouldn't have loved it to be Al Ahly.
Okay.
I would have loved maybe in another country with another. Okay, if it was in Egypt, should be at least not Al Ahly.
Quite interesting. Another Ugandan joins Dennis Onyango at Mamelodi Sundowns. That is Ismail Watenga, the goalkeeper who actually was in between the sticks when on Duparaka Football Club. By then, you were an assistant to Alan Kabonge in the year 2016 when they played Sports Club Villa. I remember that Uganda Cup final at Nachivubo did see, of course, Ismail Watenga was the goalkeeper, and he now joins Mamelodi Sundowns.
Yeah, he was also here at Greenlight Stadium in the game. They lost 1-0.
Yeah.
Aston was played behind with
the Mohamed Shaban goal.
Yes, Shaban goal, where he cried tears. But those people believe in Onyango so much, they have been looking for his replacement. And I think they've asked him to find his own replacement.
Okay.
And when I had a chat with Onyango, I asked him, I said, Dennis, who will replace you? He started, by then Nicolas Sebot was doing well. He started mentioning Nicolas Sebot, who said Sebot takes things for granted. He talked about Odonkara. He said Odonkara lacks consistency. Then he spoke about Salim Jamal. He said Salim Jamal is a very good goalkeeper, but at times he takes things for granted, doesn't know when to be serious about things or to joke about things.
Okay.
That's what he said about Salim Jamal to me. And I think he felt in his heart it is Ismail Watenga that he can be able to convince the technical bench in Sundowns to pick him from Uganda and take him to South Africa.
Wow.
It's his recommendation. And I think he's preparing for his retirement. And in the process of trying to prepare for his retirement, he's grooming another Ugandan goalkeeper to fit in his shoe. That's what Onyango is trying to do with Watenga. Watenga is just there for the grooming process.
Okay.
He may turn to be Onyango's replacement after, let's say, 4 or 5 years. That's when I think he'll be able to come in for Onyango.
Probably somebody out there will be thinking that goalkeeper, of course, who is aging, of course, the more the goalkeepers keep aging, the more experienced they tend to become. Of course, history already has that. Ismail Watenga from Vipers now doing it with Mamelodi Sundowns after taking some time off. And remember, he also went to Ethiopia before finally making that move. Maybe we wish him good luck as Ugandans, but otherwise, away from that, remember today, Saturday, the English Premier League will be full swing after the international break. Remember, before the international break, we did see quite shocking results coming through from the English Premier League. But today, there are also going to be games, big games. Most of the big games may be would love to call it a Super Saturday. And again, we'll be giving you some bit of predictions of some of the games that we think, just in terms of tips for you to make money if you are a white paper player. Because the previous weekend, we did see how Otelulu's predictions all went through with the exception of one. And if you were serious, probably you must have made money. In the English Premier League today, we have the earliest kickoff of the day will be the Merseyside Derby, 2:30 p.m. between Everton and Liverpool. A big game. A high-flying Carlo Ancelotti's side, Everton Football Club, meeting a team that is being frustrated by Aston Villa, beaten by 7 goals to 2, 1 week with the 2 weekends.
This gives them confidence. In the past 3 seasons, Liverpool have been taking the bragging rights of the derby and trying to win everything in this derby. But this one finds Everton in a position where they are well motivated, they are top of the table. I'm sure Carlo Ancelotti is not even like, he's shocked. I think he's shocked that Everton are there.
Okay.
Playing well. With the new signings he has brought in, they have added immediate impact. We talk about Ducore, we talk about Alan, we talk about James Rodriguez. It has just been a boom. And Calvert-Lewin's form has been the talk of the city, and it's at the right time. He started as a winger, but now he's playing as a central striker. He's very good in the air. He's very good with the ball. He can hold up play. He can get the passes. He can beat opponents in one-on-one situation. The finishing has developed with all the confidence. The finishing is very high. And James Rodriguez is playing the game he last played, I think, for Colombia.
Okay.
He's on top of. He's on top of.
I remember he was the top scorer in the World Cup with 5 goals.
Yes, that is what he's trying to replicate for Everton right now. He has never played that game for Real Madrid. He has never played that game for Bayern Munich. Wherever he has, we have not watched him play that game, apart from being that the best player for Colombia by then.
Liverpool welcoming back Thiago Alcantara and Sadio Mane from the COVID-19.
A very great addition. It's one of the things that affected Liverpool against Aston Villa. Had it been that Mane was in that game against Aston Villa, maybe Liverpool will get closer to even scoring 3 or 4.
Okay.
Against Aston Villa. Aston Villa may have outscored them, but Liverpool at their tally will get more goals. He brings them aggression. He brings them, the goal scoring ability. He brings them more confidence. That arrogance up front, Mane brings for Liverpool. And Thiago Alcantara will always be Thiago Alcantara. No player in the Liverpool engine has got his quality. He's the only playmaker Liverpool have got, the deep line playmaker. Wijnaldum is not close to him when it comes to playing in the midfield. Henderson is not close to him. Maybe Keita is not close to him. Some of these players are different because he loves to sit in front of the back four, distribute and joke with passes. So he brings them that quality into the team, and it makes them a threat against Everton today.
In line with your analysis, what do you see in the game? Maybe in terms of prediction.
I'm seeing a high-tempo game, a typical derby game, full of yellow cards, full of fouls, because Everton wouldn't love to lose their unbeaten just yet. They wouldn't love to give up the table yet. Liverpool, knowing the fact that the world mocked them after Manchester was beaten 6, they were beaten 7, should have been 10. I'm sure Jurgen Klopp is very unhappy. The players are mad at themselves. You know how Liverpool responds whenever they are mad. They become mad dogs. They become lions. The Robertsons and so on become lions. So I'm expecting an explosive game, very explosive game, with the fact that the Manes are back. I imagine the tempo of the game today, it's going to be Ivoire.
Wow.
Yes.
Quite interesting. Having picked that 3-all draw with West Bromwich Albion, we did see Chelsea going on to beat West Ham, of course, scoring 3 goals past them with their action against their London rivals. And this time round, they will sit home at Stamford Bridge to welcome a southern side, that is Southampton. Interesting game it is. And Frank Lampard with his dressing room issues.
This is a very difficult game for Frank Lampard. Of course, the Crystal Palace game was said to be very difficult, but he managed in the German national team. He's getting back to Chelsea. The biggest problem Chelsea have been having is the fitness of N'Golo Kante. Provided N'Golo Kante is unfit for Chelsea, you will not rely on the midfield 90%.
Okay.
When you have a fully fit N'Golo Kante for Chelsea, Chelsea will always perform in the midfield. Because if you look at Jorginho, he's not a ball winner. Kovacic is not sometimes he plays well, sometimes he has mixed games.
Very inconsistent player.
He's a World Cup winner. He's a world-class midfielder. He will always give you what you want consistently. That's what they have been missing from N'Golo Kante. And if Timo Werner can be able to get into the scoring mode, they're already trying to have that deal with Abraham. Ziyech is now in. Christian Pulisic is in. He has lots of talent to choose from. Chelsea is supposed to compete for the league, but now the only doubt you have is at the back. We keep talking about Thiago Silva at that age. You don't know what he's going to give you in the next game. You're not sure. Had it been like a player who is 25 years of age, you'll be sure that, okay, athleticism, playing high line, playing low, chasing a fullback or doing anything, you'll be comfortable with that. And Chelsea fans still don't feel Luis Katzuma is the partnership. Is supposed to be a partnership with Thiago Silva.
Yeah.
They don't believe that. Most Chelsea fans don't believe that, and they still don't believe in Katzuma.
And he still remains the scapegoat.
Yet he's Frank Lampard's favorite. People think it is Christensen. Personally, I think it's Christensen, but Lampard thinks it's him. And with the goalkeepers, Chelsea fans are not yet sure whether Mendy is excellent or he's not.
Yeah.
They are not yet sure because nothing has proved it so far.
Wow. Eduardo Mendy, you have Kepa Arrizabalaga, and don't forget Caballero as well. Time and again, keeps being one of the talks to have at Stamford Bridge. Let's talk about Man City and Arsenal Football Club. We have always had a feeling that Arsenal Football Club's season is yet to get underway. Of course, they did beat Fulham 3-0. Then they followed that up with a 2-1 win against West Ham United in the London Derby. And then they also picked another win in the last game. Now this time round, this is where we believe the starting point is for Arsenal Football Club, coming up against a solid Man City side, frustrated by Leicester City and now getting back to winning ways probably.
Had it been that Arsenal had signed a playmaker along with Partey, Arsenal would have pronounced them as title contenders, definitely, because they have the defense, they have the goalkeeper, then adding a playmaker plus Partey, having that front you have Aubameyang, you have Lacazette, you have Bukayo Saka, who gives you
Nicola Pepe is in there.
Options up front. Their biggest problem has been in the midfield. That's playmaking role, and they have lost trust in Ozil. I still think Ozil is a player who will add something in that team. Very good team, high confidence, but I wouldn't call them title contenders yet. But this game against Manchester City, they go in this game with confidence, with high confidence. And Manchester City are trying to respond from the fact that they lost 5 to Leicester City. And then there was a draw against Leeds where Guardiola ran out of ideas for the first time. He didn't know which button to press. And he was also lucky to walk away with just a point to that game. Probably should have lost that game to Marcelo Bielsa. Then here comes Arsenal. I think his guns are all out.
Okay.
Gundogan posted the picture, I'm back. Aguero, I'm back. The only problem is taking the free.
Wow.
But I'm sure he will appear in this game. The injury crisis at Manchester City has been too much that at some point, Guardiola looks to the bench, he sees no player. He only sees academy players with shirt number 55, 56, and so on. So for a coach, let me tell you, it will always cause you headache. Now Aguero is back, Gundogan is back, Bernardo Silva is to full fitness. You have got Ruben Diaz had a fantastic game for Portugal at the back, and he now has good options. Now this is the team. This is the Manchester City team to fight for the title. With the fact that Arteta beat him at a very big point where he needed the trophy badly. Arteta beat him. He's all out, and it's a very difficult game against a composed Arsenal side who have direction.
Otelul Vegas, things all guns blazing for Manchester City and Pep Guardiola with these boys up against Arsenal Football Club in the game tonight. And the game will be at exactly 7:30 p.m. East African time. And don't forget the last game tonight will be between Newcastle United and Manchester United. This is a side that ended their transfer window by bringing in Alex Teye from FC Porto and did add one more player, big name though, but at the age of 33, that is Edinson Cavani from a former Paris Saint-Germain player, but now a boss man signing, if I may say, that is on free transfer. this is the last game for the day. And don't forget, before Otelulu actually puts up or has a say on this particular game, remember tomorrow Sunday we will have Sheffield United up against Fulham. Earliest kickoff of the day before Crystal Palace will sit home at Selhurst Park to entertain Brighton and Hove Albion. And then Tottenham Hotspur of Jose Mourinho Villa. And then Monday we'll see West Bromwich Albion up against Burnley. And then lastly will be my own Leeds United up against Wolves in what we call Monday Night Football. Your last words and the Manchester United analysis as we wind down the show.
Manchester United, what I would say about Manchester United, Manchester United now needs hard workers. McTominay has to be in the pitch, he's a hard worker. Fred has to be in the pitch, he's a hard worker. Because Pogba will not chase back the ball, Bruno Fernandes will not chase back the ball. They need players who will play basic. Not players who are going to risk passes, they are going to have Ribona, they are going to have snake kick or something of that kind. They don't need now. They need players who are going to work hard to get for them results. I know they will be all out against Newcastle and they may win this Newcastle United game. They should use that to move to the next game because you have your Champions League against Paris Saint-Germain. On Tuesday, if you lose this, you have a difficult game against Paris Saint-Germain. You again lose that. You never know what's going to happen. Paris Saint-Germain with great quality. You never know what's going to happen. So this game, they really have to treat it well. They should treat it like the finals against Newcastle United, such that they can be able to gather some rhythm. For the Cavani signing, Cavani was not in the plans of Manchester United. It's just because of media pressure.
Okay.
They signed Cavani because of the media pressure. They signed Cavani to impress the media. They signed Pelistri to impress the media. They didn't get their target they wanted. But that being said, Cavani will be able to add something with the fact that he has been in Paris Saint-Germain. He'll be able to give Manchester United tips how to beat Paris Saint-Germain. He may not be for Newcastle United game, but this is the kind of signing, if he really picks up, he will add something. Okay, there's a Gallo. Why didn't they use a Gallo? He brings something different from a Gallo. At least he's a married man in Champions League.
Yeah.
Gallo is not.
Okay. Thank you very much. That has been something that we feel we should as well be tap in and bring us something that should be said about. Maybe lastly, as we kill off the show, Thomas Partey to Arsenal, and he came up making a very bold statement that they are destined to win the Premier League before he quits Emirates Stadium.
I've never seen a player welcomed in Arsenal like Thomas Partey.
Okay.
The technical team, the fans, everyone in Arsenal. If you go to Arsenal's Facebook page, Twitter, it's all Thomas Partey. They are talking about that. They signed William, they signed other players. It's all Partey after Partey.
Yes, yes.
Partey after Partey.
More of a slogan now.
This will not put him on pressure, but I think he came in the wrong game because this Manchester City game is a tricky game.
It is.
If Arsenal and Partey lose this game with a good score match, then it's going to kill his confidence. Than if you came against West Bromwich Albion, destroyed the midfield, the confidence will stay there.
Wow.
It's a wrong game. It's a wrong game, but let's pray for him, hoping that it's going to be the best. He's the best signing. He has not kicked the ball, but he's a signing that every club in the world will love to have. He's a complete midfielder.
Just within a minute tonight, we are focusing on the English Premier League games. Remember our prediction or your betting tips. We continue to give them for you, but because the time is probably up, we are in position to tell you that Everton, Liverpool, and X2 can work for you in this very game in case you go for a VIP bet. What about Chelsea Sotons? A home win for Chelsea will be a real deal, probably against Southampton. What about the game between Manchester City and Arsenal Football Club? High-flying Arsenal probably coming up against a side that is being disappointed in their previous performances and results. So Man City will be looking at something in this very game. So an X1 is as well a realistic bet for you if you go for a VIP one. Manchester United, another depleted, disappointed, and a side that looks to be getting back to life. So a United X2 might also work for you. So that's what we are going for. Looking at the Sunday games, Leicester City against Aston Villa. I see a home win for Brendan Rodgers' side against Aston Villa. They did beat Liverpool by 7-2, but that does not guarantee them a win at King Power Stadium tomorrow. So, for that reason, Kim Nas goes for an X1 for Leicester City in this very game. Tottenham Hotspur, Jose Mourinho, West Ham United won't be a bad business for you either. Leeds United and Wolves on a Monday night showpiece. A golo is a realistic. Otelul, you are say on these predictions before we leave this.
I'm picking two crucial games. One of them is the game between Spurs and West Ham United. kind of derby, but you know the Gareth Bale is going to change everything. So I expect them to win, have a respectable result against West Ham United, and I think Manchester United will be all guns out to beat Newcastle United. Those are the tips I'm going with, and Manchester. I know Arsenal will be very strong at the back.
Thank you very much, is the viewer. We appreciate you. It has been nice, wonderful. Of course, quite a number of comments have come through on social media. We appreciate you. We'll still be responding to them. That's in the next show. In case we have not been able to respond to your questions. Of course, Otelul was asked a question about where the merchandise for Arua Hill Sports Club can be gotten. Maybe if you can have that within 10 seconds.
You go to KKT Plaza. It's just about above Brack.
Okay. So you got it right there from the PRO. Thank you very much. And also at family, that is the photography. We appreciate, of course, they've been doing all that, covering all the sports activities and all the TV shows that run on West Nile TV. We hope you can also catch with them and for business.